Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's Vanessa, and if you're new here, I talk about books and sometimes school because I'm a high school math teacher. So today I am going to be starting kind of like a series that I'm going to do on my channel. So if you watch my last video, I'll link it in the little eye, but I decided that for Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs from September 15th through August 15th, I was going to read from Hispanic and Latin authors. So I did my TBR for the month in that video. And now what I'm going to do is every time I finish 3 books, I'm going to tell you about those 3 books and what I thought. So kind of like mini book reviews of the books that I'm reading that have to do with Latin authors. So today is September 24th, so about 9 days into the challenge, and I have only read 3 books. But I think it's going to pick up from here. I was kind of in a little bit of a reading slump, but one of these books actually got me out of it, so I'm so excited to talk about it. I'm going to tell you in the order that I read them, and this first video I'm so excited for because I read 3 completely different kinds of books. The first book that I read this month was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno-Garcia, and I'm actually not going to hold it up because of the glare. It looks weird on camera, but this is such a beautiful book. I got it for Book of the Month as my add-on for September. Shout out to Jen for subscribing with my link. I will put my link down below to Book of the Month because whenever someone uses my link, then I get a free add-on. But yeah, this month I got to read Mexican Gothic, and this book is beautiful. It is beautifully written. I really enjoyed reading it. I don't know if I said this yet, but it's by Silvia Moreno-Garcia, and she is a Hispanic author. So this book actually takes place in Mexico, which was really interesting to me. I used to spend my summers in Mexico when I was younger. My parents used to send my sister and I, or we would go as a family. So a lot of my growing up memories are of me in Mexico. So it takes place in Mexico. It is a horror novel where we follow 2 cousins, Noemi and Catalina, and Catalina is very ill, and Noemi receives a letter where Catalina explains that she thinks that her husband is poisoning her. So Noemi does what any cousin would do. She goes to Catalina's house and tries to get to the bottom of it. I thought going into it this was going to be more of a thriller, but it was definitely just like horror. So I enjoyed it until it got to the really gross parts. But I think that's just a me thing. So if you enjoy horror, the descriptions in here are beautiful. Like you can get a feel for the setting by the writing in this book. It's wonderful. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. There's a doctor in town, but it's like the doctor's office is like his house. And I remember one summer when I got really sick, I had to visit the doctor, and it was like a house, and I was like, this is weird because I'm used to doctor's offices and hospitals. So I really like that. Like I said before, the writing is beautiful. I really suggest this to somebody who is into horror or who just wants to read more about what life in Mexico can be like, because I thought that was cool. The second book I read was the book that got me out of a reading slump. This typically tends to happen to me whenever I don't get what I was expecting from a book. It kind of puts me off for a couple days, and it takes me a while to get back into it. But I actually read The Worst Best Man by Sosa. I will insert a picture here. And I listened to it on audiobook. I actually started listening to this in the car with my husband on our way to a football game. And I was scared the whole time that it was gonna get steamy because I don't know how you guys feel about reading like romance in public, but I try not to because I'm like, does everybody know what's going on right now? So this book is definitely a steamy book. We do get to that point. Luckily, it did not happen while it was in the car with my husband because that would have been awkward. Well, not awkward, but like weird. Anyways, so this book follows Lena and Max, and in the prologue of the book, Lena is actually about to marry Max's brother Andrew, and Andrew calls off the wedding. Max is the one who delivers the news. So that's the prologue of the book. And then in the book, it's years in the future. Lena is now a wedding planner, which totally gave me like the wedding planner vibes, like J-Lo, my favorite movie of all time. Anyways, Lena is a wedding planner. She has a big job opportunity and she's trying to get this job, and then Andrew and Max get mixed up in this. It is an enemies to lovers story, and I thought I was going to hate it because I haven't liked enemies to lovers in the past, but I loved this book so much. It was such a fun, fast, easy read that I'm like, if you're in the mood for a romance, please pick this up. I didn't give this book a 5 stars. I gave it a 4 out of 5, but that's only because it's a book that I don't think I'm gonna remember. Like even right now, I don't even know that I could tell you every little detail of what happened. But it definitely gets that 4-star experience for me because it got me out of a reading slump. I loved it so much. I had such a good time reading it. And it kind of changed my mind about enemies to lovers. So if you have any suggestions for enemies to lovers, like leave them in the comments because we're gonna try this again because I really liked it. So I do definitely recommend The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. So good. I loved it. The third book that I read, so far we've had a horror, adult romance, or new adult romance. And then the third book I read was They Both Die at the End by Silvera. And this book was highly recommended to me, mainly by my niece who lives in my house. She is a preteen or teenager, and she was like, you have to read this book because it's so good. And once she said that to me, I was like, okay, I'll read it. Anything, you know, whatever. So this book is YA, and it is a contemporary. It's a dual perspective between 2 boys. We have Rufus and Mateo, and it's dual perspective, like I said. So in this book, there's something called Death Cast, which is a service, like a business, that calls you on the day that you're going to die. So you get a phone call and they say, hey, you're gonna die in the next 24 hours. And I'm like, what a depressing kind of book. Like, we should all know that this is not gonna end well. I actually really enjoyed this, and it did make me cry because it was really sad. I mean, death is really sad, but I think it had a lot of good themes. Like one of the reasons why, I guess there's many different reasons why people would want to know the day they're gonna die. They talk about how like people can plan their own funerals, or they get to talk to their loved ones one last time, or they get to live their last day to the fullest. I think it just talked about a lot of different things and how like you deal with huge things like just as a person. So it was such an interesting read, but it was really sad, and I could just like feel it. Like I knew that it was coming. It was almost like if you ever read a book and like you know something bad's gonna happen and you kind of like put off reading it because you don't want that bad thing to happen because you're not ready for the book to end. That's kind of how I felt. Like I stopped the book when I had not a lot left. Like the last bad thing was gonna happen and I just had to put it down because I wasn't ready. So then I watched Lala's like book haul, and then I went back and read the rest. So yeah, I really did love it, and I don't know who you would suggest this book to, people who like to cry. I feel like I keep reading books about death and I'm ready to take a break from that. So I'm really excited about like the books I have coming up. So those were my 3 books: Mexican Gothic, The Worst Best Man, and They Both Die at the End. I have already started the next book, and I'm reading With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I am already loving it so freaking much. I'm so excited about it. And also I got an alert from my library app that You Had Me at Hola is available. So that wasn't in my original TBR, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be reading that next. I didn't want to include in my TBR because I didn't think I was going to get in time, but I'm really excited to read it. And then the 3rd book I'll be reading for that video will be Fiore Tropical. And this book is probably one of the ones that I'm the most excited about. And this book is just awesome. Like, it feels really cool. I also got it from my library. So I'm excited to read that. So those are going to be the next 3 on the 2nd episode of this Hispanic Heritage Month reading journey. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And videos have been a struggle lately because school is full back. Like and in swing. So I'm hoping to get back into some kind of routine, but that's probably not gonna happen anywhere in the near future. So if you're still here, thank you guys so much. And if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. I will be bringing content. I just don't know when. But yeah, bye guys.